Hey everyone, this will be the second video on Python basics. We will be going over loops, functions, libraries, and other useful topics. If you haven't already, check out part 1 and subscribe to the channel to know when I post something new. Let's start with the for loop. It allows us to repeat code a certain amount of times or loop through all elements in a list. For example, we write for x in and then a list and make sure to add a colon at the end. With the print statement inside the loop, we can print out each element of a list. This can also work for letters in a string. Here, it will print out H, E, L, L, and O. To repeat some code for 5 times, we can use range 5. It will go from 0 to 4. To print a random sequence of numbers, we can add 2 more parameters to the range. Range 122 will print numbers starting from 1 inclusive to 20 exclusive, and it will increment by 2. Another usage of for loops is in list comprehensions, which compress a for loop into one line. For example, we do new list equals string x for x in this list if x is greater than 5. Printing the new list, we can see that the list was made of only elements that were greater than 5, and they were all turned into strings. This comprehension allows you to make your code more concise, and it also looks better in my opinion. Next is the while loop, which keeps running while a condition is true. Let's set n equals 1, and say while n is less than 10, print n and increment 1 to n. If we want to skip some numbers or stop at a number, we can use continue or break statements. They also work in for loops. Let's add if n equals to 4, then continue. This means it will skip the current iteration and move on to the next one. If we also add n equals to 6, break, then the whole loop will stop completely if it detects that n equals to 6. We run our code and we see that it did skip printing 4 and it did stop after 6. If you want your code to keep running forever, you can use while true, and this will make it an infinite loop unless you use the break statement. Another way of shortening code is through functions. To make one, we just say def to define the function, and then the function name, parentheses, and a colon. We add the block of code that it should run below. Let's make this function speak say something by adding print hello. Now we can call the function instead of the code inside. We can add a variable to the parentheses to take parameters to the function. By passing arguments to the function when calling it, we can change the text it prints. We can also make functions return a value in order to use them later. In this example of the function squared, we can take the parameter num. When we say return and then the value we want returned, it will send this back to the main program. We can store the results of the function into a variable. Return is also like a break statement and it causes the function to stop running afterwards. So if you had extra code below, it would never get ran. Using a try except block, we can catch errors and respond to them. For example, passing a string to the square function will throw an error. By adding try to the block of code and then an except after, we can determine what to do instead of having the program crash. If an error occurs, we can return invalid number to show that you can't square strings. You can also just say pass and it will do nothing. We can also make classes which are like blueprints for creating our own instances of the class. Start by saying class and its name, person. We can make an init function which initializes the class's instance variables, which are variables that are owned by the specific class. The self is there so that we can refer back to that specific instance. We can also make an instance method which can do something using the variables. For example, we can do the method grow, which adds 1 to age. To make the instance, we do p equals person, parentheses, and then the arguments to send. We can now call grow, and it will change the age. We can also set default values for age by going back to init and adding an equals 20. If no value is provided, 20 will be used as a default. Next, let's take a look at text.txt. To read values from this file, we should first use open to access it. We say open, then the file name as a string, and also the mode as a string. R is for reading only, A is for appending to a file, and W is for overwriting a file. After opening it, we do .read lines to read every single line into a list. As you can see, they all have /n at the end. If we wanted to read a file without these /n's, we can do .read.splitlines. This reads all of the text into one large string and then uses split lines to split by the /n characters. Through a list comprehension, we can edit the values in the list. Make sure to add back the /n characters in the list comprehension if you use split lines, or else all the text will be on one line. We can rewrite them into the file by using the W mode instead. When we open the file, we see that it has been changed. The quickest way to utilize pre-made code is through libraries. We can import them, and this allows us to use code that other people have made for us. Let's start with the request module, which allows us to visit websites and grab text from them. We do import requests and do r equals request.get the website URL. This stores the request made to the website in R. We can print out the text by saying r.text. R.status code would return the status code that the website showed. And r.json only works if the text is in JSON format, such as the text I am using right now as an example. If we import the JSON library, we can also load strings like r.text and turn it into JSON using json.loads and dump it back into text using json.dumps. The regex library called re lets us find values inside text using search rules. In this example, I used re.findAll and this piece of regex in order to grab all the text in between quotes. Using time libraries like time and datetime, we can print out the current date, add times, and convert them between formats. Two simple commands are time.ctime and datetime.now. There are thousands of other libraries out there, and each of them are useful for various different things. So look around for the ones you would find the most useful in your projects. Alright, that was the second video on Python basics. I went through the topics I found the most useful, so make sure to comment below if I missed anything important. Make sure to subscribe so you can keep up with new Python videos when I post them. If you are looking for some project ideas or want to learn about more advanced topics, the #1 resource for you is Google. Search any topic you want and you can find great examples and explanations on sites like Stack Overflow. Thanks for watching and have fun making your own projects.